Upon his arrival, the elder and the students paid their respects to the ambassador. Seeking information about Xian Qing's whereabouts, Zui Yuan was informed of his unfortunate demise by the elder. Upon digesting this news, Zui Yuan raised suspicions about the involvement of the Sword Immortal. Contrary to his belief, an elder clarified that it was Yi Xian who took action. Upon learning this, Zui Yuan praised Yi Xian for achieving sword mastery before turning 20, recognizing the rarity of such talent even in the Middle Kingdom. In response, an angered Xiao Yao urged Zui Yuan to cease speaking, criticizing his audacity in launching a sneak attack. Realizing Xiao Yao's affiliation with the Taba family, Zui Yuan decided to show some consideration. Following this decision, Zui Yuan enveloped her in his qi, leaving Xiao Yao perplexed by his actions. Concerned, Yi Xian inquired about Xiao Yao's condition, to which she responded that she couldn't move. Zui Yuan then gestured with his hand, causing Xiao Yao to be forcibly dragged. He instructed the students to take her aside, emphasizing that they should not harm her during the process. Yi Xian expressed his concern for Xiao Yao, but Zui Yuan obstructed his path, pointing out the grudge between Yi Xian and Kongmu Academy. He declared that they should settle everything now but emphasized that Yi Xian wasn't the primary reason for his personal appearance. He demanded Yi Xian to call out his master. An individual with a cane chimed in, and multiple figures appeared as he mentioned the rumor about his master's formidable fighting skills, expressing their desire to compete with her. Contemplating the situation, Yi Xian realized that these people were not there for him but specifically to find his master. He addressed his master privately, informing her that they seemed to be looking for her, and questioned what she wanted to do. In response, the master expressed anger, voicing her desire to destroy their world in a single strike, stating that it was really annoying to watch. Hearing her response, Yi Xian smiled in relief, revealing his initial belief that she wouldn't respond. Amidst the unfolding events, Zui Yuan questioned Yi Xian, wondering if his master intended to be a shrinking turtle. In response, Yi Xian assured him that his master was en route. Before her arrival, he made a surprising request to engage in a fight with Zui Yuan. Confirming Yi Xian's intent with a hint of skepticism, Zui Yuan questioned him if he was sure. Undeterred, Yi Xian readied his sword and affirmed his decision. Accepting the challenge, Zui Yuan voluntarily lowered his cultivation to the Dharma realm, ensuring a fair confrontation. Without hesitation, Yi Xian swiftly unleashed his signature move. Recognizing the technique, Zui Yuan channeled Qi into his hand, mocking Yi Xian for his perceived ignorance. With a directed strike, Zui Yuan shattered his sword, sending him crashing into a rock. Observing this turn of events, the Kongmu students celebrated, believing that Yi Xian's demise was imminent. Unbeknownst to them, Zui Yuan concealed his injured hand, privately acknowledging that Yi Xian was indeed not to be underestimated. Drawing this conclusion, Zui Yuan declared his intention to take Yi Xian's life. Gazing at his broken sword, which was the foundation of his cultivation, Yi Xian grimly concluded that this might indeed be his end. The elder with the cane stepped forward, advising Zui Yuan to eliminate Yi Xian to compel his master to reveal herself. Agreeing with the suggestion, Zui Yuan channeled his qi into his hand, expressing his intent to inflict upon Yi Xian the agony of death. However, before Zui Yuan could unleash his attack, Yi Xian's master made her presence known, questioning their audacity in daring to harm her disciple. She directed a powerful wave of qi toward them and turned to Yi Xian, asking if he blamed her for the situation, to which Yi Xian denied. She then inquired if he knew what to do next, receiving an affirmative response from Yi Xian. Meanwhile, Zui Yuan addressed the master, initially assuming she would act defensively but acknowledging her courage. However, the master dismissed him, and with a precise strike using a straightened strand of her hair at his temple, Zui Yuan's lifeless body fell to the ground as the master questioned if she had given him permission to speak. Witnessing this astonishing display, the elder with the cane and others sweated profusely, realizing that it took just a single hair to kill the ambassador. Confronted with this revelation, the elder concluded that the master surpassed even the sword immortal in power. When questioned by the master about his feelings, Yi Xian acknowledged the ruin of his dantian and the broken state of his sword. He expressed that he could no longer consider himself a martial artist. Setting aside his physical condition, the master asked him if he understood the lesson from the task of retrieving the sword. In response, Yi Xian voiced his conclusion, if the person is strong, the sword would be powerful. Dismissing his response, the master informed him that his answer was barely passable and that there was another reason she had instructed him to retrieve the sword. As for what it is, however, she left it to him to figure out. Considering his ruined state, Yi Xian mentioned that even if he realized something, he wouldn't be able to improve his cultivation any further. The master probed deeper, questioning his definition of being ruined and whether he believed that the absence of his sword Dantian rendered him incapable of practicing the art. With a hopeful smile, Yi Xian inquired if there was still a chance for him. Unfortunately, the master swiftly dismissed any hope, declaring him beyond redemption and destined for demise. Addressing the master, the caned elder voiced his realization that she is beyond a sword immortal. In response, the master revealed that she had already reached that feat more than 100,000 years ago. Hearing this, the caned elder privately questioned her claim, wondering if it was possible to live that long. He noted that even the legendary supreme beings don't live that long, leading him to wonder about her true identity. He then voiced his skepticism as he raised his cane, simultaneously producing a phenomenon in the sky. Challenging the master, he declared that he would let her witness his techniques. Undeterred, the master questioned if that was all he could do. She then pointed a strand of her hair toward the sky, releasing a massive manifestation of a sword that instantly dissipated his boasted technique. Witnessing this, one of the students wondered aloud who she was. Concurrently, the elder remained stunned in disbelief, pondering how it was possible for her to easily destroy his great divine technique with just a single strand of her hair. Witnessing the master's formidable strength, the elder solidified his belief that she surpassed the realm of a mere sword immortal. In response, the master questioned him if she had ever allowed him to speak as she simultaneously sent an attack at his head, leading him to collapse on his knees. Witnessing their elder's defeat in mere seconds, the students wasted no time and started to make their escape. Preventing their attempt, the master manifested multiple swords and directed them at their group. Witnessing this, Yi Xian privately marveled at her strength. She then questioned him if he finally understood why she had given him the task. In response, Yi Xian confidently declared his comprehension that sword cultivation embodies a Tao, a philosophy, and a belief. Even without a Dantian, he asserted himself as a sword practitioner. Hearing this, the master momentarily fell silent, leaving Yi Xian questioning his understanding. To his surprise, the master smiled, acknowledging that he was not as naive as she had thought. Retrieving his sword to fix it, the master emphasized that this is the final instance of her assistance. From now on, Yi Xian would face challenges independently. She remarked that it was time for him to become strong by himself, to which Yi Xian agreed, and she concurrently returned his Dantian sword to his body. She then reminded him that he had to rely on himself, noting that the path in the future would be much more difficult than the present. In response, Yi Xian thanked her for her teaching and promised that he would definitely work harder in the future. Meanwhile, as she moved past the dying elder, he requested to know how strong she actually is before losing his life. In response, the master questioned him about what he deemed as the strongest person. Replying to this, the elder responded that it is the supreme realm that has never been reached by anyone in the Qing realm. In response, the master revealed that it is just like an ant from her perspective. Hearing this, the elder repeated her words as his life slowly faded. Addressing the surrounding enemies, the master questioned who could receive her sword. In response, a person from the crowd stepped forward, declaring himself as the protector of the world. He expressed respect for the heavenly path, the gods, and the protection of millions of living beings. He asserted that if she kills them today, she will be condemned by heaven and not be tolerated in the 10 realms of Kyushu. Hearing his bold words, the master mocked his insignificant assertion. She questioned if there was any god in this world who would dare to condemn her, asserting that if there wasn't someone specific she wanted to find, she would obliterate the heavens, gods, 9 states, and 10 realms, along with billions of living beings, using just one sword. Hearing this, one of the enemies criticized her arrogance, asserting that she lacked reverence for the way of heaven and gods as he charged with the others. However, the master immediately delivered an attack before he could even reach her, leading the others to halt as he collapsed to the ground. Following this, the master proceeded to call them ignorant ants, pointing out that even the gods of heaven that they speak of must remain in awe of her. Otherwise, if she wants them to die, they will die too. She then voiced her discontent with this world, and with a gesture of her hand, the master manifested a gigantic sword as she voiced her decision to destroy it while proceeding to impale the domineering sword on the ground. Witnessing this, Yi Xian privately pondered the immense strength required to destroy an entire world with a single sword. He questioned whether his master truly intended to annihilate the world, wondering about the fate of Qinzhou, the city of Jiang, and the people he cares about if the world were to be destroyed. With this line of thought, Yi Xian urgently requested his master to calm down. In response to Yi Xian's request to calm down, the master questioned why she should be calm, citing the constant disturbances from the people in this world, disrupting her dreams. She asserted that it deserved to be destroyed and proceeded to lay waste to the Kungmu Academy. Yi Xian, addressing his master, reminded her of the person she was seeking, emphasizing that if that person existed in this world, the consequences of its collapse would lead to that person's demise along with the world. Considering his point, the master agreed, stating that she would give him consideration. Reflecting on her quest, she acknowledged the challenges of 13,000 years and sifting through 21 individuals in search of a specific person. Doubting whether the current person was the one she sought, she declared her unwavering commitment, stating that even if the likelihood of finding the right person was as rare as 1 in 10,000, she would not give up. Hearing this, Yi Xian questioned what she meant. Ignoring his inquiry, the master shifted the focus to practical matters, advising him upon his recovery to find the second Tao principle. She revealed that there are 9 Tao principles in total in the Boundless Tower, and 6 of them are in the Qing Tsung realm. She instructed him to hasten the collection of these 6 principles, emphasizing the urgency to reach the Dharma realm as swiftly as possible. Additionally, the master added that he also needs to reach the level of a Sword Emperor. Only then will he be able to protect himself when a big disaster befalls their world in the future. Perplexed by the mention of a disaster, Yi Xian questioned what she meant. In response, the master mentioned that she had looked up at the stars earlier and discovered that an evil aura was watching this world and constantly devouring its origin. However, she mentioned that it was extremely secretive, and therefore no one in this world had discovered it. According to her speculation, it won't be long before it can use the origin of the world to break through itself, and by then, the world will be in disaster. Hearing this, Yi Xian questioned if it was strong. In response, the master informed him that to the people of this world, it is undoubtedly very strong, but to her, it is just like an ant. Curious, Yi Xian inquired why she didn't just kill it with a sword. In response, the master pointed out that she was already being kind by not destroying their world. She questioned if he was still asking her to save the world, noting that as long as it didn't interfere with her, the life and death of billions of creatures were irrelevant to her. She then advised him to know himself better and focus on what he should do, emphasizing the need to recognize himself. She warned him that within a year, if he couldn't find the second Tao principle, he will become a passerby of the tower. Hearing this, Yi Xian questioned where he could find it. However, without answering his question, the master took her leave, leaving Yi Xian clueless for answers. Following this, the backlash from the Boundless Tower immediately took its effect, leaving Yi Xian suffering on the ground. Seeing this, Xiao Yao questioned him if he was all right. Given that he looked to be in pain, she suggested knocking him out with her hammer, adding that it wouldn't hurt if he is unconscious. Hearing this, Yi Xian's eyes bulged as he nervously pleaded with her not to do so. However, Xiao Yao insisted on assisting him with his pain, voicing her desire to help him out. Nervously pleading against it, Yi Xian insisted it wasn't necessary. Wanli chimed in, offering to help him. Seeing Wanli, Xiao Yao mentioned that she seemed familiar. In response, Wanli noted that many people had met her before, but her memory isn't very good. Ignoring her nonsense, Xiao Yao questioned if she could really save Yi Xian. Wanli affirmed, mentioning that only the 2 of them were willing to save him. Considering Wanli's beauty, Xiao Yao concluded that she could trust her for a while. However, Wanli hinted that she might need Xiao Yao's assistance. Curious, Xiao Yao inquired for more information. Following this, both of them carelessly dragged the unconscious Yi Xian by his feet. Amidst this, Xiao Yao expressed her desire to ask Wanli a question. Given permission, Xiao Yao pointed at Yi Xian's private area and questioned why she doesn't have it. In response, Wanli noted that it is the root of evil and that without it, men cannot do evil to women. Hearing this, Xiaoyao acknowledged that Yi Xian is a good man, and since she is friends with him, she questioned how they could rid him of this evil. Upon hearing the suggestion, Wanli responded positively, stating that it couldn't be better. As Yi Xian peeked open his eyes, Xiaoyao instructed him to endure what she was about to do. She then swung her hammer at his sensitive area, causing extreme pain to the point where his soul seemed to leave. Addressing Wanli, Xiaoyao mentioned that they had helped Yi Xian remove the so-called root of evil and asked if Wanli thought he would thank them. Blushing slightly, Wanli replied that it might not be the case. Xiaoyao, puzzled, questioned why he wouldn't thank them since they were helping him. Wanli suggested that Xiaoyao might understand when she grows up, an answer Xiaoyao accepted. She then inquired if Wanli had seen Yi Xian's master, who she described as a lady in a plain skirt, to which Wanli confirmed. Impressed by the master's strength, Xiaoyao speculated that her father and uncle might not be able to beat her, but maybe she could give it a try. Reflecting on what she had witnessed, Wanli contemplated the master's identity, emphasizing her ability to destroy their world with a single sword. Simultaneously, at Kangmu Academy, a mysterious figure observed the devastation from above, questioning if this was the power of the sword immortal capable of destroying the renowned academy with just one stroke. Another individual approached the figure, addressing them as Master Lu and expressing surprise at their unexpected visit to Qinzhou in person. Acknowledging the person as Dean Li Qin, Master Lu highlighted that Kangmu Academy had spent a considerable sum to invite the 12 wizards of the witch world as helpers. Due to the outcome, he questioned how Dean Li felt about it. Dean Li responded, suggesting they would just accept their defeat. Hearing this, Master Lu pointed out that the sword cultivator had severely damaged the origin of the Qingtsang realm, depleting the spiritual energy of the entire Qingzhou. He warned that at the current rate, the state's spiritual energy would soon be exhausted. He attributed this consequence to Kangmu Academy's actions, leading him to question the dean if he truly had no awareness of the situation. In response, Dean Li asked if Master Lu was implying he should take the blame for Kangmu Academy. He countered by suggesting that their guardian faction was also to blame for not preventing the female sword immortal from entering Qingzhou. In response to Dean Li's question, Master Lu retorted that the dean was already familiar with the rules of the Qingtsang realm. He asserted that Kangmu Academy should face punishment for their provocations, mandating a payment of 20 billion gold coins and 10,000 purple origin crystals to the World Protector Alliance within 3 days. He warned the dean that if the payment was overdue, he would be accountable for the consequences. Upon hearing this, Dean Li privately criticized Master Lu, deeming the demand as shameless and a deliberate robbing against Kangmu Academy. Another individual appeared, noting that their plan seemed to have failed once again. Dean Li referred to his earlier claim that the 12 warlocks could defeat the female sword immortal. In response, the elder admitted his mistake. Considering her ability to defeat the 12 warlocks, the elder concluded that she must be a pinnacle great sword immortal. Hearing this, Dean Li privately exclaimed in disbelief at the revelation. In the midst of their discussion, the elder brought attention to the precarious situation that currently enveloped Kangmu Academy, expressing concern for its well-being. Dean Li, in turn, acknowledged the gravity of the situation but found himself uncertain about devising a plan at the moment. Amidst the exchange, the elder disclosed his identity as the elder of the Situ family from the upper realm. He proposed a solution, aligning Kangmu Academy with his Situ disciple, ensuring they would be shielded from any potential threats. Dean Li, curious and wary, responded by highlighting the apparent truth, the Situ family's desire for Yi Xian's demise. He questioned the motives behind such a stance. Angered by the situation, the elder divulged the intricate web of relationships involving the Situ and In families. He revealed the In family's interest in a union with the Situ family, further explaining that Yi Xian's interaction with Miss In had triggered hostility. With a tone of disdain, he emphasized that even with a force surpassing the sword immortal backing Yi Xian, the Situ family would still remain resolute in not sparing him. Upon hearing the elder's explanation, Dean Li internally criticized him as foolish. Aware of the relationship between Yi Xian and Miss An, Dean Li asserted that it might as well be a better choice to align himself with the An family. Meanwhile, in the Great Cloud Empire Palace, Yi Xian's voice echoed, frantically questioning the whereabouts of his eggs. Expressing his frustration to the nutcracker, Yixian asked her what he had done wrong to deserve such treatment. Nervously fiddling with her fingers, Xiaoyao downplayed it as just 2 eggs, questioning why he was angry. With a cute expression and a hint of tears, she promised to pay him back. In response, Yixian expressed his frustration, questioning her about his missing eggs and expressing disbelief at her remark that they were just ordinary eggs. As Wanli entered the room, she mentioned having the best imperial doctor and planned to have him treat Yixian later. However, she warned that the cost would be high, at least 2 million top-grade spirit stones. Surprised at the price, Yixian inwardly expressed his shock. However, upon learning that the doctor warned of dire consequences if delayed, Yixian immediately produced the payment, requesting the doctor to be called urgently. Wanli agreed and instructed a messenger to summon the imperial doctor. Half an hour later, Wanli informed Yixian that he should regain feeling in that position after an hour but warned of potential side effects. Seeing Yixian in distress, Xiaoyao tried to console him, assuring that she would take care of him in the future. Meanwhile, Ozwa reported to Wanli that all parts of Qizhou, including their empire, were experiencing a depletion of spiritual energy. She noted turmoil in various places and a surge in prices for top-quality spirit stones and various energy sources. Given the situation, Ozwa concluded that Qingzhou would descend into complete chaos if the trend continued. She then urged her queen to decide promptly on a course of action. In response, Wanli outlined 2 essential paths. First, she suggested finding spiritual veins to address the urgent need. Second, she proposed seeking a radical cure to save the land of Qingzhou. She emphasized that the sword had harmed the fundamental origin of the Qingtsung realm, affecting not only Qingzhou but the entire realm. She warned that such damage would lead to chaos, and in a world thrown into disarray, humanity would be lost. Despite the potential negative consequences, Wanli dismissed the concern, mentioning that her azure dragon sword was already hungry and thirsty, eliciting a perplexed expression from Ozwa. Returning to the duo, Xiaoyao revealed a storage ring and asked Yixian if he knew what was inside, to which he responded with curiosity. Xiaoyao disclosed that it contains 3 billion gold coins, 26 million top-grade spirit stones, 1,300 jade-grade spirit stones, and more. Before continuing her list, Xiaoyao cautiously looked around for eavesdroppers before revealing that there was also a top-quality spiritual vein secretly hidden in her Qiankun bag, which she didn't dare tell others. Upon hearing this, Yixian inwardly expressed surprise at the mention of a top-grade spirit vein. He concluded that obtaining it would be enough to bring his spirit to the imperial realm. With this in mind, Yixian revealed to her that the spiritual vein is very important to him, and questioned if she could give it to him. Xiaoyao agreed, noting that she has a lot at home and doesn't lack it. She also mentioned that if it weren't for him, she wouldn't have acquired so much from the spoils of Kangmu Academy. She then advised him to take a good rest, informing him that she would take her leave and that he could call her any time, to which Yixian agreed. As Yixian meditated in isolation, he pondered on his master's previous inquiry about whether a swordsman loses their essence without a sword. Rejecting the notion, Yixian concluded that true strength lies in talent, asserting that a person's might determines the strength of their sword. He argued that even a strand of hair, when wielded by a powerful individual, could surpass the prowess of the finest sword. Conversely, weakness renders one incapable of subduing the mightiest blade, let alone harnessing its power. Recognizing this profound truth, Yixian concluded that the essence of sword cultivation lies in understanding, obeying, and surrendering to one's heart. The true focus, he realized, is on cultivating one's own heart. In this contemplative moment, Yixian admitted to himself that he has a long way to go. At that moment, Wanli entered the room, seeking an update on Yixian's well-being. Grateful for her concern, Yixian assured her of his improved condition. Expressing a desire to share something important, Wanli took her seat and mentioned the damage to the origin of spiritual energy in Qingzhou, leading to its depletion throughout the region. She added that several cities in the Jiang Kingdom faced a similar fate, resulting in turmoil in some of these locations. Upon hearing Wanli's revelation, Yixian sought clarification on her intentions. In response, Wanli urged him to rise and undertake the task of saving the people of the world. Surprised by Wanli's request, Yixian repeated her words in question. With a serious tone, he asked if she truly believed he had the ability to save the world. In response, Wanli affirmed, expressing her belief that no one in Qingzhou was more capable than him. Despite this, Yi Xian pointed out his humble identity as a sword cultivator at the level of secluded realm. He acknowledged the vast number of people in the world, deeming it impossible for him to save them. However, he assured her that once healed, he intended to return to the Jiang country to address civil unrest, advising her not to worry about the matter. Unsatisfied with his assurance, Wanli asserted that the current state of Qingzhou was because of him, questioning if he had no sympathy. If not, she voiced her belief that Yi Xian might not be worthy of his title as the national warrior. In response, Yi Xian clarified that he was a national warrior of the Jiang kingdom, not the Great Cloud Empire. He argued that Qingzhou's situation arose from his conflict with Kangmu Academy and the Dark World, questioning why she didn't hold them accountable. Unfazed, Wanli asked if there was something else he wanted to say. In response, Yi Xian asserted his intelligence, warning that persistence would diminish her standing in his eyes. Undeterred, Wanli revealed the presence of mercenaries and forces from Middle-earth Shenzhou in Qingzhou, driven by a desire to plunder. Surprised, Yi Xian echoed the word plunder in question. Wanli confirmed and shared her thought process, suggesting retaliation by plundering in return. She proposed joining forces to attack Middle-earth Shenzhou and unify the Qin Kong realm, causing Yi Xian to emit a questioning sound. Taking his hand with both of hers, Wanli asked if he would consider the idea. Seemingly blushing, Yi Xian stammered, commenting on her hands. Insisting on the idea, Wanli continued to hold his hand gently while proposing the notion of unifying the Qin Kong realm together. Overwhelmed by her forwardness, Yi Xian blushed while privately cursing, realizing that his motivated junior was about to end his career. Realizing he was discovered, Yi Xian requested Wanli to listen to his explanation. However, Wanli wasted no time and threw a straight punch at his face, calling him shameless. With bulging eyes, Yi Xian apologized to Wanli, admitting that he couldn't control himself. Following this, Wanli brought out her spear, questioning his audacity to be disrespectful. At this moment, Xiaoyao came to his rescue, rushing him out of the place while inquiring if he was all right. Curious, the imperial doctor asked if Yi Xian had offended Wanli. Perplexed, Wanli questioned why Yi Xian had a drastic change in temperament. In response, the imperial doctor revealed that the thing used to fix his nuts belonged to a spirit dragon. She explained that a spirit dragon is extremely obscene by nature, and its egg sac contains the most powerful aphrodisiac in the world, leading to reactions when close to a woman. Hearing this, Wanli inquired why the doctor had changed his nuts with such evil things. In response, the doctor reminded Wanli of her previous instruction to intentionally treat Yi Xian with side effects, intending to make his life less enjoyable. With this clarification, Wanli instructed the doctor to locate Yi Xian and provide healing, expressing concern that he might succumb to the injuries sustained from her punch. Meanwhile, in an abandoned location, Xiaoyao carefully positioned Yi Xian on the ground and pondered aloud about Wanli's harsh treatment of him. Taking out a pill, she urged Yi Xian to ingest it. As Yi Xian slowly recovered, Xiaoyao inquired about the conflict between him and Wanli. Due to the sensitive nature of their conflict, Yi Xian requested her to refrain from asking more questions, stating he wouldn't say anything anyway. Sulking at his secrecy, Xiaoyao gave up, attributing it to him still seeing her as an outsider, leaving Yi Xian to wonder about her perception. He then extended an invitation for Xiaoyao to accompany him to the Jiang kingdom, revealing his role as the Kanglin Academy dean there. Xiaoyao repeated his claim, questioning if he is indeed the dean. Yi Xian confirmed, suggesting that if someone as skilled as her joined Kanglin Academy, she could at least become a vice dean. Perplexed, Xiaoyao questioned why only a vice dean position was offered. In response, Yi Xian highlighted the burdens that come with being a dean, emphasizing the daily challenges and exhaustion associated with the role. He explained that being a vice dean, on the other hand, would allow her to avoid daily worries, making it a more comfortable position. Agreeing with Yi Xian's perspective, Xiaoyao noted that a vice dean is essentially the same as a dean. As they arrived at the Drunken Immortal House building, Yi Xian was greeted by the manager, who inquired about his needs. Yi Xian expressed a desire for a cloud boat that could swiftly return to the Jiang kingdom. With a cheerful smile, the manager asked Yi Xian to wait briefly while he made the necessary arrangements. Seated and waiting, Yi Xian observed Xiao Yao looking around and questioned her about it. In response, Xiao Yao suggested robbing the seemingly wealthy drunken immortal house building, leaving Yi Xian with a conflicted expression. Amidst their conversation, the drunken immortal house building suddenly began to collapse. Reacting swiftly, the duo managed to escape just before it fell, narrowly avoiding the collapse.